Hey, thanks for listening to the Things I Learned Last Night. It's my favorite thing to do. My second favorite thing to do is stand-up comedy. And so we'd love for you to come to those shows. This month, I am in Houston, Plano, that's in Texas, Kingsport, Tennessee, Fredericksburg, Virginia, Charlotte, North Carolina, Milton, West Virginia. Where's that at, huh? Raleigh, North Carolina. It's in West Virginia. Indianapolis, Omaha, St. Louis, and Springfield, Missouri. So March 22nd, I am in Nashville, Tennessee, filming my comedy special. It got rescheduled. There's 2 shows on that Sunday. If you're within driving distance, put on a couple episodes, make the drive, come to the special taping. I'd love to see you there. So thanks for coming to shows. Let's get into the episode.
Hey, man.
What's up?
Have you ever heard of the 1905 Death Harvest?
Jeez, just really positive, encouraging episodes lately that we're going for. Just, if you feel like the world's kind of falling apart around you, why don't you come over to TILLN podcast where we're going to talk about the 1905 Death Harvest. Is it as dark as it sounds?
Well, you tell me. Here's a picture of the Death Harvest in action.
Oh, it's a game. Okay. Woof. It's a rugby game.
No, this is football. This is college football in 1905.
Is it? Okay.
This is what it used to look like before we
became little
so weak.
Yeah.
Well, in the 1905
before it went woke.
In the 1905 season, 19 people were killed playing football.
My gosh.
So
what?
So this prompted a lot of changes to the game. Like a lot of changes to the game.
Okay. There's nothing in the rule book that says I can't kill this guy at the 40-yard line. There's nothing in the rules that says I can't hit you in the face with this baseball bat. You know what I'm talking about? You can't show up at someone's house with pitchforks and chase them out of town. You know what I'm saying? Like, that doesn't exist anymore. And we should bring that back. Things I learned last night.
So a little bit of backstory on what football is. I do think we need to do like some backstory of how we got to the 1905, and then we can talk about 1905 a little bit.
Okay.
But football.
Did that come to the mind? Because you can tell that like messed him up. Is that anyway? Anyway, so football.
Anyways,
for audio listener, if you couldn't tell what happened, a little person came out of Tim's chest and went, and then went back in, and it really threw him off.
Freaked me out. Nothing like that's ever happened before, so I didn't know what.
That
to
really
think
freaked
about
me out. So this is dumb.
So
you have a lot to get to. I'm gonna let you talk this whole episode.
We don't have a lot to get to.
I know last week's episode was like an hour and a half, so I just really want to give you all the time you need, buddy. I'm gonna stay out of your way over here.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. So football, the original game of football was early 1800s. There was a group of British school kids. They combined soccer and rugby and created this game of football. And a group of Yale students somehow found out about this.
Okay.
And they were like, that sounds like fun. Let's use this to haze kids. And so for about 30 years in the early 1800s, football was a hazing exercise where the upperclassmen would pit the sophomores and freshmen against them in a game of football. And the point of the game was like
to tackle
injure each other, hurt each other. And we're going to laugh at you while you do it. And this became a big thing in the Ivy League schools where Princeton and Harvard and Yale, everybody would get to the football game, the annual football game, to watch the underclassmen get hurt. And this game was not an organized thing. It was not something the colleges condoned.
Right.
Or even like allowed. But they would kind of do it think of any hazing thing where it's like the college is like, you did what last night?
It's a bit like the Quidditch tournaments that were taken off on college campuses when we were in high school. Quidditch tournaments? Are that still a thing?
Harry Potter?
Tim, yes.
What are you talking about? I literally don't know what you're...
On college campuses.
Is this a real thing?
Yes. when we were in
you're
high
gonna have to
school-
tell me about this because I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh yeah, you want me to waste so much time, huh?
I don't want you to waste time.
You know what? No, we have a lot to get to. No, go ahead, Tim. Last week's episode was way too long.
Tell
Come
me
on.
about the Quidditch tournaments.
Glug, glug, glug. And so, gotta take a sip. And so, yeah, so in high school, these kids were playing Quidditch. They were flying around on their broomsticks. And we were like, whoa, we're in the Midwest. We shot them down.
That's not a thing.
Okay, it is a real thing, though. Like hobby horsing is a thing.
Yeah.
Okay, they would do that on broomsticks. And they would go play Quidditch in a field.
As college kids.
Yeah, and like, so when I was touring...
Was it lame or was it cool?
It depended on when it was happening. Because when I was doing my college tours,
Yeah.
in that'd be 2012.
Yeah.
I was touring Mizzou,
Yeah.
and they were like, yeah, they do like Quidditch tournament, and it was like it was labeled as a cool thing. Within 2 years after that, it was not a cool thing anymore.
Interesting.
But like 2010, 2011, 2012, that was also the wave of time when improv was cool. You know, like and show choir was cool.
Well, it's kind of like
show choir was only cool because of Glee.
Yeah.
And like it should be noted that what I was doing in show choir was not Glee.
Was not Glee.
But we acted like it was. And in our brains it was.
But it's very similar to the like zombie survival thing.
Have we shown or looked at my show choir days on the podcast?
I don't think we have.
We have in our Discord for sure, like on our patron hangouts.
Yeah, I think we have.
If you don't know, once a month we do a patron hangout where we get on a Zoom call together, and people have found my old high school show choir performances.
It kind of is just our patrons trying to embarrass us.
They just bring some stuff up, and I find your grandma's house.
Yeah, that's actually.
But I think Shay had found my high school show choir performances.
I think that. Yeah.
That wasn't me prompting you to pull it up at all. I'm trying to help you waste time, buddy.
I'm not trying. I don't need you to waste time. Let me. So the Quidditch though, was it like?
I don't need you to waste time. So tell me more about Quidditch.
No, was it like the zombie survival thing? Like, remember that? Because our freshman year, that was really big. Our senior year, everybody hated it.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I wasn't there senior year. So I guess that's true. Everyone hated it senior year?
I should say it became. Yeah, like
lame.
Freshman year, everybody participated and loved it.
Yeah.
Senior year, it was like, you're in my way.
But were we just freshmen? You know what I'm saying?
That might
because like your senior year,
actually,
a freshman probably liked it.
That you actually might be 100% right.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you don't know, zombie survival was like this thing that you did on campus.
Yeah.
Where you carried Nerf guns around. And Alex, do you know what this is?
Alex, did you go to college?
Yeah.
Where did you go to school at?
UCM. Warrensburg.
Oh, okay. Did you live on campus?
Yeah, for the first 2 years.
Oh, okay. We don't know anything about this guy. We've been friends for 10 years now. And we just found out he went to college. Remember when we found out that he was an Eagle Scout? That's crazy. But did they play zombie on your campus where it was a last person standing game where if you got shot with a Nerf gun then you were done.
But it went like it started in like September 1st and it would go until it was over and you just had to carry a Nerf gun with you at all times. And if someone who was a zombie, I think they had to have like a red bandana on or something like that. And if they touched you, you were out. But if you shot them, like they couldn't touch anybody else for like, I don't know what it was, like a half hour or something like that. And so you would go around shooting zombies trying to survive. And zombies would try to touch you. And it was like, it was not even just on campus. It could be anywhere.
Walmart.
And then you'd see like these Evangel University students chasing this kid through the mall with a Nerf gun, shooting at them with this Nerf gun.
Yeah, it was fun. It's like fun
it was genuinely so fun.
Things that we did before we were on the internet.
Yeah, it was genuinely a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But then, but by the time I was a senior, oh my gosh, I don't know if there was something more obnoxious than trying to get lunch in the cafeteria or trying to get the class.
Well, it wasn't allowed in the cafeteria. You weren't allowed to
That's
do it.
right. Yeah, there were safe zones. But yeah, trying to do something and then having these kids play this game around you was
like your
so
room
obnoxious.
was a safe zone. You couldn't do it on the floor.
Yeah. But anyways.
Yeah, that and the polar run.
Yeah, the polar run was fun.
But did you do that every year? Did you do a polar run every year?
I don't know if I did.
The seniors my freshman year were really into it. They loved it. Where we'd run the whole campus in our.
I clearly remember doing it once. I don't remember.
I think it got.
That's the
I
crazy
remember us
thing.
doing it the first year, and I think I remember it getting shut down the second year.
It might have.
Because do you remember what happened our freshman year? Of the Kraus guys coming out and started tackling people because the Polar Rum, the Scott Hall guys would dress in shorts and our underwear, and this
on the coldest day of the year.
Yeah, the first snowfall of the semester.
That's right.
And then we would run from one end of the campus to the other.
Yeah,
stupid little Polar run.
Yeah,
Kraus guys came out and started tackling people.
Interesting.
And then it became like this whole like people were getting ready to fight over it. It was weird. It's crazy.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
So this is basically like the Kraus guys came out and basically did what the upperclassmen were doing to the underclassmen at Princeton.
Kinda. And they would go to the intramural fields and everybody would pack the stands. Like it'd be the middle of the night. They'd pack the stands and they'd force all the underclassmen to play this game of football, which was just a very violent version of soccer was essentially what it was. Like you couldn't touch the ball. It was all kicking, but it was like you were allowed to punch, tackle, throw, whatever you could do to anybody else. And people would get hurt all the time. And everyone was like, oh, I love this. This is my favorite part of college.
Yeah, it's a gladiator.
Yeah, exactly.
It's my favorite part of college.
It's watching these.
It's the one night a year where you get to watch people and you got to wonder what the psyche of human beings is that we're like, I actually enjoy watching other people. I actually
really like this part. Yeah. And so this happened for like, I don't know what it was, like 30 or 40 years until 1850, somewhere in that range, when all the colleges started to ban it. All the colleges were like, you guys can't do this anymore. This is insane.
People are getting hurt.
They're like, we let you do this for like 40 years, but this is getting out of hand.
Sure.
And so it gets banned. And then in 1860, though, like throughout for that banned era, there was like a group of kids who were like, remember when we used to do that? That was so great. We should make it a thing.
Yeah.
And they tried to like formalize it over and over again until eventually they managed to pull off like a formal rendition of football. And they created like all these rules in the game, and they held like the very first actual game of football. They formalized it as an actual collegiate sport. And the very first college football game was played November 6, 1869. And it was Rutgers versus College of New Jersey, which would eventually become Princeton. And Rutgers won 6-4. And this game was much closer to soccer, like with a little bit of rugby in there.
Okay.
You couldn't touch the ball. Everything was kicking the ball around, or they said they would describe it as like batting the ball with your foot. I don't understand what's the difference between batting it and kicking it.
Yeah.
But there wasn't like any stoppage in play. Like it was continuous. There was no like huddle, we're calling a new play sort of situation. Obviously no pads or anything like that. But the thing about it that was different was like, what if we took soccer and you could punch everybody and you could tackle them, you could throw them around, you could just be really violent.
Sure.
That was what they did with that. And so this game gets really popular within the Ivy League schools, and it becomes like this Ivy League football league. And so all the Ivy League schools play each other.
Okay.
And it's very violent. It gets really intense. Emotions get really strong, where you hear stories of colleges playing each other. And literally, this is the 1800s. And so the storylines are like the game would happen, and an away team would literally get it chased all the way back home in carriages, like because they rode carriages and chase them all the way back to their home university.
Yeah.
I don't know what they were doing.
They rode carriages to the game.
Isn't that crazy?
Imagine rolling up, and then you get out, and they don't have the big headphones, They just got to have two people on each side. Because, like, the reason that the athletes wear the headphones is so that people can't yell stuff at them and try to get in their head, So they just got two people on either side of them being like, la, 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 because that's the 1800s music. That was the pop music back then, too. And honestly, it was so revolutionary. Like, when they were like, ba, 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 no one else was doing that. And I mean, like, no one else was doing that, So it was a huge hit. So they like one guy on each side be like la 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 la. And you get out of your carriage and you're just walking in, and you don't have to put pads on, I guess.
Yeah.
You lose and then you get up and you go, giddy up. It's a long ride home.
Yeah, can you imagine like after a football game, obviously no pads, so sore. And you have to ride on a cobblestone road in a carriage all the way home, just like...
Yeah.
like brutal.
That's why they don't have football in England.
So this was just
Or Charleston, South Carolina.
This was just an Ivy League school thing, and it lasted for a little over a decade. It very temporarily got banned for a couple of years because they're like, this is too violent.
Sure.
And they revised a lot of the rules to where they're like, okay, well, what if you could hold the ball? It's not just kicking the ball. And what if we stop play? So like you stop, and then you have to like restart, and you have a huddle, you call a new play, and then you restart the play. And so that was enough for the schools to be like, okay, this isn't as violent, I guess, now. So we'll bring it back. And so in the late 1800s, it comes back around, and the game is very different. It was illegal to throw the ball. You could never throw the ball. There was no neutral zone, so there's no gap between the lines. They literally would line up shoulder to shoulder with each other, and then you would start the play. And the way the game worked is essentially like you hear nowadays the game of inches. It literally was a game of inches. The whole game was the tush push, and they would hike the ball, they would hand it off to the running back, and they would do the wedge formation, and they would go literally
inches.
All the way down 100 yards down the field to try to score a touchdown. And these games would regularly be 0-0 because it was like, how do you win? And so
you push harder.
I mean, exactly. And the rules were intentionally very vague because they wanted to allow just about anything. And so they...
How do you win? Pull a gun. What are you talking about? There's no rules.
There's no rules.
Yeah. They're going to throw a flag on me. Fine. Tell me in the rule book. Where this golden retriever can't play on our team. Tell me in the rule book where I can't pull a gun.
I mean, kind of.
Did you know a 17-year-old girl fell 10,000 feet from a plane crash and landed in the Amazon forest and survived?
Or did you know that the Australian government went to war with wild emus and lost?
I'm Jaron.
And I'm Tim.
And each week on Things I Learned Last Night, we learn about a fun story from history.
And sometimes some alien conspiracies.
It's a family-friendly show, and there's over 300 episodes to get started with.
So search Things I Learned Last Night wherever you get your podcasts. So around the turn of the century, the game starts getting more and more and more violent.
Yeah.
Because they start to build these rivalries between schools.
Yeah.
They start to get really...
and are they running creative plays then?
No, it's just running it up the middle. They also did off-tackle runs, so sometimes they will run off the tackle.
Yeah.
But
there's no passing yet?
No passing. Passing is illegal. That's
okay.
one of the few rules is you can't throw the ball.
Okay.
And even if you could, the ball was closer to a rugby ball. It was more watermelon type.
Right.
So it was bigger. It was like you couldn't really throw it very well.
Watermelon, if you don't know, is the source of the Mellon family's fortune. But go ahead.
And so the game starts as the rivalries start to become to take shape and become more and more vicious. The game starts to become more and more vicious.
Yeah.
And players start to exploit the fact that there really isn't a lot of rules to this game. And so this kind of culminates in this moment where there's a game where a player, he gets kind of a breakaway run and he gets to space and the defenders come and they kind of high-low him. One of the guys clotheslines him.
Right.
And the other guy, instead of trying to tackle him or anything like that, he straight up drop kicks him and he goes full extension, just cleats to chest and just knocks him down like that. The guy goes into cardiac arrest and he dies. And the ref is like technically illegal play.
There's nothing in the rule book that says I can't kill this guy at the 40-yard line. Well, the ref's in over, he's sweating. He's like, this has got to be in here.
This has got to be
This
illegal.
has got to be. And it's all written in feather, So he's like, I can't. in quill. And he's like, oh, gosh, I don't know what to do with this, Well, let's send this to New York. We'll get a judgment on this. And then it's a bird, a pigeon carrier. And he's like, all right, we're going to get a call from New York, so let's just wait on that.
The pigeon should be back in about 4 days. Sorry.
And that guy's just laying there on the 40-yard line.
Somebody help him.
Oh, well, we don't know.
It's against the rules to help a man who's down.
It is written in the rules here. You can't help him when he's down. So
that's the one thing we know for sure.
The American way. So we're just gonna wait for that bird to come back.
The bird never came back.
That's so. What year was that? Is that the first time somebody died in an official game?
I don't know if that's the first time someone died.
But that was like a pivotal.
But that was a pivotal moment because everyone's like, "How is that not against the rules?" Because a lot of times people were getting hurt, and it was like it was a fair tackle. It was just a big hit.
you just.
But this is like you just drop kicked that guy in the chest. Like that shouldn't be allowed.
Yeah.
And so there begins to be this public outcry of like, "Hey, this game's like unnecessarily violent," and like we're just letting our college kids just play this crazy violent game. And so it starts to bubble over for the first 5 years of the 1900s of like all this bad press, negative press about the game. 1905 is the big year where in 1905 we have 19 people die playing the game of football. And I should say the numbers are a little foggy about the deaths because some places you look at will say 19 people died. Some places will say like 20, 23. Some go all the way up to 29. But it just kind of, I think it what matters is how are you counting these numbers? Because you'll look at this, this article here is outlining all the different people who died in this 1905 season.
Yeah.
And the way they break it out is kind of interesting to me because 10 of them are high school players, 3 were in college. You'll notice there's 1 girl player, what they broke out into a different category.
Okay.
5 other players, and then there's 10 players who are 17 years or under. And then over here, there's all the injuries. 137 people were injured playing the game. And so...
yeah. And then it says the cause of death in there too. Blood poisoning?
Yeah. I watched a video of like a doctor going over a lot of these causes of deaths.
Yeah.
And he said one thing we have to recognize is that they didn't understand what was going on in medicine yet.
Right.
And so they just kind of made some stuff up. And so...
concussion of the brain. Well, they knew what concussions were, I guess.
Yeah. He said there's some of these things that are pretty obvious. And so like they were doing a good job identifying those things. But he said like a lot of these blood poisoning cases, and there were some other cases in here where they would attribute this to being a death from football, but it was like, oh, this wasn't necessarily...
Yeah, he just had leukemia.
Yeah, exactly.
He was...
They would say like football caused infection. And it was like, oh, he got a laceration.
Gout.
And then he got an infection from that. And it's like football didn't cause that death.
Yeah.
The fact that we didn't really like clean ourselves.
Well, it's the same thing. The James A. Garfield, died because they tried to get the bullet out. And if they had just left it, he would have been fine.
Yes, exactly.
You know.
So this leads to this big public outcry because people are dying left and right in the this game. And then someone comes forward and says, hey, we need to make this game a little bit safer. Exactly the person you would expect. Teddy Roosevelt, very famous for being someone who was like a man's man, tough guy. Was like, this game is not safe enough.
Sure.
And he's like, we need to make it safer. And the public hated him for it.
Really?
Yeah, they were like this pansy in Washington. That's a direct quote that you saw everywhere.
Right.
And this sort of artwork started coming out. They were like, this is what they want to make football. Which, why don't you describe this actually?
Is 2 men smoking cigarettes, and they are in pantaloons, and well, they're also in heels.
Yeah.
So it is like So they're wearing like women's pants.
Yeah.
And then they're bowing at each other and being very courteous. They're each
I think you could use the word dainty, the way they're like holding their hands up.
Yeah, I think the character is supposed to be that these are like the high class women who wear like the white gloves and have the little bracelet on, and and what's all these boxes say? These boxes say cigarettes.
Yeah.
It's something else, something water.
It's hard to tell, yeah.
Did they carry bottles of water around back then? So it's the idea being that,
and there's one woman in the stand. I think that's important. There's one.
Oh yeah, the stands are empty.
And read the rules down there on the ground.
Football rules: no pinching, no slapping, hug easy, don't yell. What does that say? Don't yell what?
I don't know what that last word is.
No nose pulling and don't bite. Okay, so those are all rules that are in the game currently for real.
Those are all the things that
those are all
like, oh, they want us to not bite each other anymore.
What am I supposed to do? Leave his ears on?
I can't pull this guy's nose.
I can't.
You're telling me I can't pull a guy's nose?
Also, someone who's like, I'm too big of a man. I've got to pinch somebody. Like, dude, what are you talking about? No pinching? And they're like, oh, okay. Oh, these woke babies, huh? Like, who is pinching? Who in the whole thing was just like, nah, 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 nah. Are you doing like purple nurples? What are you doing?
Well, that was the thing, is like they would have these dog piles, and because there was no neutral zone, they were literally lining up shoulder to shoulder at the start of the play. And they said a lot of dirty stuff would happen in that shoulder to shoulder moment because like the rest couldn't really see what's going on in there.
Yeah.
And so I assume that's the moment where you pinch people, you bite people, because it's like this are the things I can easily get away with.
Nibbling? You're just sitting there.
Just bite me.
There was the play, the AFC and NFC championships were just last night. And did you watch the end of the Broncos Patriots game?
I did not.
Where, they're doing the Patriots getting victory formation to kneel.
Yeah.
And the Broncos nose guard dives to the ball to try to get it.
Yeah.
And when I was at 54th Street when it was happening, one guy was like, "Oh my gosh, so pathetic." And I was like, "Listen, dude, this is the end of the season.
Yeah.
If he gets that,
if he can get there, yeah.
if he hits if he steals that
huge moment,
that snap, that's on SportsCenter for the rest of the all of next year."
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, he took a risk.
You gotta try.
And you can literally see the nose guard. They stand up, and the center is like, "What?" And you can see the nose guard be like, "I gotta try." You gotta be like, "Hey, man, it's the end of the season. if you guys win, then
because that's the thing. If they got the ball back, they had a shot."
Crazy.
Yeah. So, but then there was this like inverse propaganda though of the people who were like, "Yeah, we probably should deal with how dangerous our games are."
Yeah.
And so this is the bottom says the mote in our neighbor's eye, which means speck. And so this is the United States, like your very typical United States guy.
Oh, because they were probably down there shutting down the bullfighting.
They're like, bullfighting is dangerous, but then behind there is all of our games being.
And hold on. So prize fighting, I get it's boxing.
Yeah.
What's the top one?
I have no idea. I'm guessing it's duck.
Puck?
I'm guessing it's duck shooting.
It's pigeon shooting.
Yeah.
Pigeon shooting. And then I don't know why the word is out there. Puck. Okay, so pigeon shooting, sure. There's football where a guy is laying down and another person's stomping on him.
Not stomping, jumping. Both feet jumping on his back.
Yeah. And then there's the 6-day bicycle race, which is, again, something
just
that's not
a race.
And then there's baseball. And the baseball is this guy hitting the umpire with the baseball bat, which is not
over the
which I feel like the cartoon insinuates that's just part of the game. Yeah. Oh, you're complaining about the bullfighting, but hey, there's nothing in the rules that says I can't hit you in the face with this baseball bat. That's part of the game. That's not part of the game.
Yeah, you're not.
That is against the rules.
That is something you're not supposed to do in this game.
Maybe I'm wrong, and it's clearly Babe Ruth that they drew. You know what I'm saying? That's
Babe Ruth just hits all these umpires with this baseball bat. That's why he gets so many home runs.
I don't think it's Babe Ruth. He just looks like
he just looks like an old baseball player.
Yeah, short, stocky. Okay. What is the 6-day bicycle race? We should do some stories on that.
Well, because this was a big thing. A lot of people were talking about how everybody's making a big deal about 19 people dying in football, but people die swimming all the time. People die rock climbing all the time. People die in all these sports all the time.
Say this stupid stuff. Dude. Yeah. They're like, "Oh, well, people get hit by cars every day. You're gonna stop going outside." And you're like, "No, but I am gonna look both ways."
Yeah, I'm gonna try not to get hit by a car.
I'm gonna try not to get hit by a car.
I'm gonna do my best to make sure a car doesn't hit me. Just because other people get hit by them.
People's arguments are so dumb. They immediately be like, "Oh," and you're like, okay.
Yeah.
Think about stuff, man.
So Teddy Roosevelt comes forward and he's like, "Guys, we got to fix this. This is kind of insane."
Yeah.
And so he gets together this committee of college athletics representatives from all the Ivy League schools. And he puts together the Intercollegiate Athletic Association of the United States, the IAAUS, which 4 years later would change its name to the NCAA.
Right.
And their job was, hey, make football a little less violent. So they get together and they look at all the rules and they say, okay, what are the things we can do to make this game less crazy? The first thing that they come up with was we should put a neutral zone in. We can't start the game where everyone's shoulder to shoulder or start every play where everyone's shoulder to shoulder. Put a little gap there so that way we can see what's going on. We know if we're a ref, if someone's throwing punches or pinching or biting or spinning or whatever they're doing in that pile.
Yeah.
The other thing that they said was a few years ago, at the end of the 1890s, there was this really big moment in football where a play was decided or a game was decided because someone threw the ball, which technically at that moment wasn't in the rule book. It got added to the rule book that should be illegal, but that team won the game. And they're like, oh, the forward pass cannot be allowed. That was weird. They went back to this.
That was weird. Oh my gosh. What's that thing flying in the air? Oh, it's the ball.
What the heck?
The ball is defying gravity.
So the organization says, what if we input?
What if we made that you could?
Yeah, what if we said you could start throwing the ball? But a lot of people in that organization were like, but that changes the game of football. Football is 2 yards in a cloud of dust, game of inches.
Sure.
Like, it's the run game is the point of football. And so it's interesting. They added throwing as something you were allowed to do, but they seriously shackled it. They were like, well, you can throw the ball, but if it's an incomplete pass, it's a turnover on downs. If you got to catch it.
Jeez.
And they were like, and if you throw it to the end zone and they don't catch it in the end zone, then the other team gets the points. And so like they make it this whole thing where it's like, yeah, you could technically throw.
You probably should.
But no one's ever going to do it because you made it so hard to throw. They changed the shape of the football to make it closer to what we have now. So that way you could actually throw it and it was possible to throw it.
Uh-huh.
And then they codified a bunch of rules that are like, you can't punch anybody, you can't drop kick anybody. Like, here's what an actual legal tackle is. You can't hold anybody when you block them. It's like these like body blocks or like open hand blocks is all that's legal. And like you can't throw people around. Really changing the way the game works. They also, up until this point, you needed 5 yards to get a first down. And so the game was a very short game.
Okay.
And the way the game was played was you wanted to control possession. And so if you have the ball longer, the other team can't score. And so you would literally try to get the smallest gain you could to get that 5 yards. You wouldn't try to get chunk plays. But now, having it 10 yards, like you had to get some chunk plays in there. And so this is when the screen pass starts to develop because it's like the safest pass you could do. Kind of open up the field a little bit. And the idea here is we're doing things to spread the field out. So there's less bodies in this little mini spot. And we're making it to where, okay, it's illegal to hurt a lot of people. Hey, thanks for watching our show. If you like it, a great way to help out is by being a Patreon supporter. Doing that helps make this show possible, but it also gets a lot of perks for you. You can get every episode a week early, ad-free. You get access to a Discord where you can meet a lot of other people who love the show and actually hang out with Jaron and I every month on a hangout. And we're also in that Discord chat all the time, talking with people, talking about episodes and just random stuff in life. It's super fun. There's a way to get birthday messages, a free gift, merch discounts in there. So there's a lot of really great reasons to be a Patreon supporter. You get a lot of benefits out of it. And it also makes the show keep happening. So if that sounds great to you, you can go to support.tilln.com or tilln.com/support, or just tilln.com and search around until you find the links and become a Patreon supporter. We really appreciate you doing that. But if not, right back to the episode, right? And this is interesting because what ends up happening is this doesn't necessarily make the game safer. People still died playing the game every year.
Okay.
But it got a lot of people to be like, oh, it's not dangerous anymore. Because the rules say it's not. And so then like everybody kind of like the heat got off the game. But the next year, people died playing football. And the year after that, people died playing football.
Right.
It just wasn't... it was almost like like a PR campaign.
Right.
To change all these rules.
That's
to make it
was.
seem safer. And
they didn't add helmets and pads yet.
Oh no, that didn't happen till like the World War.
2002.
No, yeah, because the pads were. Someone said in this era that Theodore Roosevelt was trying to sissify a man's game, and padding would be
too far.
Worse. Yeah, they played in literal caps and their suits and stuff, and over the course of the next 10 years, in an effort to try to make the game safer, the NCAA starts adding all these different rules to like spread the game out, to widen it out. Eventually, they pull back a lot of these rules with passing to kind of make it to where it's possible to pass. And then I believe it's 1910, Michigan. They bring in a new coach who's like, okay, now it makes sense to actually throw the ball. We're going to take advantage of this. And that season, they played 13 game seasons. They won the championship, but not only did they win the championship, they had a spread where that year they had 526 more points than their opponents that year. Over the next 4 years, they went on this like dynasty, winning multiple championships, and they went undefeated for those 4 years. And they had a 2,000 point spread on their opponents over 4 years on 13 team games.
That's crazy.
What's craziest about this whole story is the 5th season, they were again a really good team until the game to get them to the championship. They lost that game in like a last minute play call, like could have gone either way game. And afterwards, the people of Michigan revolted against the coach, blamed him for it. And we're like, look what you did to us. It's like you're forgetting the last 5 years where we won 4 championships. The school had never won a championship.
Bro, I mean, people are doing that with the Chiefs right now.
Yeah.
Where people are like, oh my gosh, it's all over. Get rid of Andy Reid and all this stuff. And I go, hey guys, I trust Andy Reid with my life. Like we're not.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
And so he ends up getting chased out of town. He can't get another job.
Literally chased out of town then too, because that was the whole thing. That, you know what? And that's what I missed too about the time. We could chase people out of town, dude. Like you can't chase people out of town anymore. You know what I'm talking about? You can't show up at someone's house with pitchforks and chase them out of town. You know what I'm saying? Like that doesn't exist anymore. And it should. We should bring that back.
I don't think we should.
We should bring that back.
Because this is exactly.
You know what? We'll start with you.
What it was.
His address is 291.
That's exactly what this was. Because it's the same thing. This guy did not deserve to get chased out of town.
I don't care.
And those are the people who always got chased out of town.
But I'm saying you could.
They just needed a scapegoat.
You had the ability to chase someone out of town. And I think that's great.
Well, he gets chased out of town.
We should go back to chasing people out of town.
Couldn't get a job in football ever again.
Yeah.
20 years later, he was overcome with the grief, always outspoken about the fact that he ruined Michigan. But he made Michigan. Like that's the crazy thing about this to me is like he
made Michigan,
and he also made like
football. Here's the thing. I'm not usually into college sports at all, but I've told you, Kurt Signetti, I'm getting thirst trap edits of Kurt Signetti on my social feed.
He sends them to me, and that's what they are. They are thirst trap edits.
I mean, it's this thing where he's just like, I win. Google me, and then it's just like the music, and it's just different pictures of him, and he's just like, and I'm like,
arms.
I'm like, dude, I understand it. The way that you look at dudes with hairy arms. Bro, I was straight up. Middle of the season, I was like, I think they're gonna do this.
Yeah,
and then like when they go 17-0, you're just like, I don't know, man. I really like it.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard not to love that storyline.
Incredible turnaround.
Yeah, and I mean, if history repeats itself, they could scapegoat him when they lose once. Because that's what happened. They went on a 5-year winning streak.
Chase him out of town.
And they chased this guy out of town. But yeah, that moment opened up the game of football.
Wait, the 1905?
Yeah, the 1905, the death harvest changed the rules of the game to make it allow passing.
Okay.
And then from that moment forward, we started to see the transformation of the game to where passing was not just legal, but became viable.
When did they add pads and stuff?
I don't know when they actually added pads. I believe it was around World War II. Let me see.
Yeah.
The 1910s is when we started to see real pads, so I was a little off. But those were over-the-head shoulder pads.
A little.
Those were just shoulder pads.
I was a little off.
Those were shoulder pads. Helmets were until 1930s.
World War II.
Helmets came in 1930s. Face masks came in 1930s.
Yeah, I love that he's just pushing through. You can tell I really get into him right now.
Hold on.
You can tell when I'm really
There was literally just shoulder pads in the 10s.
Okay.
And then the 30s were the helmets and the face masks. The 50s was when you started to see like the full like
the full thing that we've got
pads,
now.
Yeah. But anyways.
All right.
Yeah, so the death harvest changed the game because everyone was like, we shouldn't be killing people in this college game.
Crazy.
Teddy Roosevelt campaigned for that. Everybody hated him for it. And then we started to see football become what it really did. At that time, what's really interesting is the NFL, like professional football as a whole, was secondary to college football.
Yeah.
College football was what led the thing. And then throughout the course of it was the Super Bowl changed that. And the NFL overtook college football when the Super Bowl became a thing. But it was a few years of the Super Bowl before it became, this is better.
Very cool.
I wouldn't say better, but this is
like
deal.
the prime event.
Yeah.
The big leagues.
Yes. Yeah.
I think that if I was born in 1904 and I had the right nutrition and the right coaches, I probably could have chased that guy out of town with the rest of the villagers. You know?
Yeah. I think if
I think that's where everything went downhill. We stopped referring to ourselves as villagers. Maybe that's what we got to get back to.
Townsfolk.
Yeah. The townspeople. Oh. The towns. That's why I love RuneScape, dude. It's 'cause in the RuneScape, I'm just part of a little community. Okay, wait. Speaking of RuneScape, though. Okay. So at the beginning of the year, the Venezuelan president is kidnapped by our government. Whatever. Your thoughts on that? I think it's crazy. That's how the year starts. So listen, the world is crazy. Things are out of hand. Every day the news is like, you know?
Yeah.
And so RuneScape is my escape.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what's crazy, Alex doesn't know this is what I was telling Alex, is that I hate so much that Donald Trump taking Maduro affected RuneScape's economy. Because, and this is true, is that apparently a majority of the bots that exist in RuneScape are run by Venezuelans. And so the way that they do that, like there's money you can make in the game that you can make gold pieces and then they sell that on third-party websites. Mm-hmm. So it's like, 10 mil is $6 or whatever, right? And so they have these bots running that just cut logs for days at a time. And then they sell those logs and then they sell that money on their website.
Yeah.
And that's how these people are making real world money to pay for their lives in Venezuela.
Because they can make more money doing that than they could in any regular job in Venezuela. Like it's
there
more
are
than
people,
minimum
there
wage.
are gold farmers, and it's not a ton. It's like $200 a month, Mm-hmm. But in some areas, that's more than the doctor in that town would make.
Yeah.
And so these people are making real money by farming gold on RuneScape.
Yeah.
And so whenever the Venezuelan United States stuff was happening, the economy in RuneScape was responding by some of the prices on these things were skyrocketing, not because they were anything real had happened yet, but out of speculation that if these bots all disappeared, if Venezuela's internet was cut off, if their access to if that was the case, then it would throw these things into turmoil. And I was just so annoyed that even the place the medieval world that I go to escape from reality is still impacted by
gold
the
speculators.
decisions of the governments. And I was like, not even in Varrock? I'm not even safe in Lumbridge?
What is this world coming to? So anyways, Jaron stocked up on gold that day.
Well, I'm an Iron Man, so it doesn't matter to me, but I just thought it was interesting that the game economy was tied to the real world.
I'm an Iron Man, so it
I'm
doesn't
an Iron
matter
Man,
to
so
me.
it doesn't really matter to me. I'm an Iron Man, I go alone, as it were. So I go the road alone. You can catch me, I think right now I'm in Barbarian Village fishing. So if you want to stop by and say hi.
Say hello.
Don't
Leave me alone. I'm fishing. This is my escape.
This is my escape from reality. Don't remind me that the world outside of it exists.
Don't remind me that I exist.
Every time one of you mentions me and you're like, oh, I listen to your podcast. I don't do a podcast. My name is Costco Dog and I'm an Iron Man and I'm fishing right now. All right?
I don't know you. Don't talk to me.
I don't know you.
I don't know you. You don't know me.
This is a bit like whenever you'd see somebody from your church at Applebee's and they ordered a beer.
Yeah.
You don't know them.
Yeah, you didn't see that.
Hey, I don't know you.
I don't know you.
I'm just here for the mott sticks.
You don't know me.
I'm here for the mut sticks.
And you are not going to tell our father about this.
Our father?
Yeah. The pastor. It's the church where they refer to the pastor as father.
Oh, no. I would never go to one of those. That's weird. I mean, if it's Catholic, that's whatever. If you're
it's Catholic, that's whatever.
if you're in an evangelical church and the pastor's like, "Hi, I'm the father,"
Nah, see ya.
That's some Mark
Bye.
Driscoll stuff, and I'm not about it. Anyway, so I don't know what other episodes we've done about football, but we put out episodes every week, and it really helps
the
us if you-
1905 Olympic Marathon.
No, the 1904 Olympic Marathon.
The 1904
Tim doesn't know what
Olympic
episodes
Marathon.
we do either. But if you check out the Olympic Marathon episode, we put out episodes every week. We'd love it if you share the podcast. That really helps us a ton to get the word out. That's the best way to help us grow the show. The second best way is to join us on Patreon. Honestly, the first best way is sharing it, to be honest. The second best way is to join us on Patreon. You can join us for our Patreon hangouts, and we're going to schedule those and have the dates for those soon, so you'll see. We're going to try to put those out more regularly. But every month we do have a hangout that we jump on Zoom and do that. So
Yeah. The third best way to help is visit Jaron and Umbridge.
Lumbridge.
Sorry.
And Jaron isn't there.
Sorry, Costco Doc.
Shut up.
You can't say that here.
Only I can say. Only I can say his name.
Only I can say his name.
Only I can say his name. All right, bye.